Today is Saturday, December 23rd, 2023. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for the finale of Survivor 45.
This is it. This is the end. We come together once more to take a look back at the finale and the season overall and how it relates to our previous seasons. All that rolled into one as we put a bow on 45 and say... Dun dun. That's what this is all about.
Yeah. Dun dun.
I tell you what, we have a new, a new, what do you call it? Tradition. We have a new tradition.
I don't know about it, but
for the finale podcast, and that is ooey gooey cinnamon rolls with roasted pecans.
And caramel.
And caramel, yes. So that's the part of the ooey gooey. The glazed frosting and the caramel and the roasted pecans and a big cinnamon roll. It's just chonkers. And then with some coffee, chef's kiss.
I just had a bite, no coffee.
Well,
this morning I had some last night.
Half of a roll after breakfast, and that was just as I was putting together the last parts of the show. And that is a phenomenal new tradition. I couldn't think of the word tradition for some reason there for a minute.
It's because you were too focused on the roll.
I'm amped on the sugar, but it's not coming quick enough yet.
Well, I don't usually, that's not anything we usually do. But,
no.
But
once or twice a year?
Special treat. Okay, well, we don't do this. And I told the guy at the bakery, I just said, nope, put it all more on there. Put it on there. We don't do this often, so if we're going to do it, we're going to enjoy it. And
so I'm thinking from now on, at least twice a year, we'll be looking to do this.
Twice a year? How about we just stick with one?
Well, we got 2 finales a year normally, so... Finale tradition.
Finale tradition. Okay.
Right over her head. She didn't get it. Okay. Now we're on track.
I was thinking
now
we don't need that more than one. We don't need it at all, but once a year.
Twice. See, you're almost there.
Yeah.
2 finales, finale tradition.
Well, I will make sure you have one anyway. And I will try to just go with the bite because we can both get carried away with that.
Yes, we
but
can.
It was good. We kind of shared and... You know, and I was good with that one bite, and I made sure I had breakfast this time, you know. It's like, eat your breakfast.
This wasn't the case when they first came home.
No, when they first came home, they were still hot.
Yes.
It was like, we have to have
There's
a bite.
So much caramel that was dripping out of the box.
Bite.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why they would even put that in a box, but anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, you need to put that in something different, but anyway.
More solid container, yeah.
Anyway,
quite good.
It made
Highly
Stacy
recommended.
Smile a lot.
There you go. You know what else makes me smile? Listener feedback. We got 17 super fans that made a contribution to the finale listener feedback show, and I can't wait to dig in. Is there anything else we need to cover?
Just that Stacy got a haircut, got his fuzzy beard taken down really close, and they cut his mustache so much I can actually see his lips and smile, and I just can't quit looking at him because like I don't believe I've seen those lips quite like that for years. And
this is not that kind of show. You need to refocus, woman.
I can't. We
Listener
always
feedback.
look. We're sitting arm in arm on our love seat, and
because we love Survivor and we love our super fans,
and that's true.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, never
mind.
mind. I digress.
The love for each other.
But that's true.
I thought you were going to add that part, so you made me circle
I was,
back.
but I thought you just said this was not appropriate. That I was loving up on you, and it's not appropriate. it. So.
That's how you took it. All righty.
I don't care.
Anything else we need to cover before we get started?
We didn't need to cover that. But
No.
okay, no, let's hear from Pete.
Excellent.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. I gotta say, I know a lot of people, including myself, thought that the outcome was anticlimactic and predictable, but I love how the final three fought, and I really thought it was going to end up in a tie, and Jake was going to cast the vote. So I'm going to let out a great, big, whoa! Very good finale, guys. I believe the season redeemed itself despite the quitters in the beginning and maybe not the best pre-merge, but a lot happened post-come the merge and the jury. The Caleb with the first ever shot in the dark that actually nullified every vote. The Emily blindsides after she orchestrated Bruce not playing the idol. Kelly blindsided and Drew this and that. I thought it was very good. And the finale tonight was great. I think what hurt Jake and then Couture, well, Jake did not have a good read, but Couture, when it was final five, she should have never flipped her vote. But I understand she was in a tough spot there. Obviously, if she voted out D, now who knows what might have happened with Mama Julie. Mama Julie still might have made the end. But that's what I felt when it got down to Austin and D in the final four. I knew those two were at least going to make the final three. And it was great. And the fire-making challenge, good on Jake for pulling it out. And that knocked out Couture there. And I thought there was some good arguments, some great questions on the jury. I love my homegirl, Kendra. I thought she set the tone real good. They all asked amazing questions. I thought that the final three gave great answers. Even Austin was real good. Jake was good, even though he got the Xander, a bagel, no votes. And look, Austin still got 3 votes. And again, I really thought Jake was going to have to cast that one vote for the winner. I have to hear his interview. I wonder who he would have voted for. He may have voted for Austin to win. You never know. But hey, good on D. She deserved it. When you win 3 challenges, you orchestrate great moves, and you have a great social game, you deserve to win. Congratulations, D. Now, don't spend all your million on Austin. Spend it on your family as well. But no, you got to enjoy yourself, too, which I'm sure that's what Emily wants her to do. But this was awesome, guys. One thing, guys, did we get to hear Bruce in the jury at all, other than the thing about him having the idol? But at least we got to hear him at the after show there a little bit. He seems like he's a good sport now. And Drew seemed real good, too. I always felt embarrassed when he got blindsided. It was great. They seem to be having a great time. Even though there's no more live reunion, we don't get to see the pre-jury. I thought it was a lot of fun, and the season redeemed himself. And congratulations, D. Now on to 46. Don't really know much about any of the cast members here. I have to look into it going through the winter here, see if there's anyone from Boston. This was a solid season, though. I loved it. Happy holidays, everyone. Woo!
Woo. Thanks, Pete.
You know, I do think Probst missed an opportunity when Jake was talking about it. Like, oh, no, I thought it was going to be a tie and I was going to have to vote. To say, well, Jake, who would you have voted for?
He did, but then he did answer it in his interviews. Yeah. Do you want to guess?
D.
Yeah, he said T. He said to him, from his perspective, her game was far and away better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no surprises there, really. It still would have went that way. Yeah.
It was just destined to be D.
And Dee said that she alluded to some small thing that she was going to do, but her primary plan was to invest it. And hopefully she'll team up with Emily there at the Motley Fool and they can 10x her money for her.
I don't see her as the kind of woman that would necessarily
blow it partying
or on a guy. You know, a lot of people mention that. Emily said, you better not spend it on that boy.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But I don't see her as that She's got a business.
Didn't come across that way. Yeah.
The person I think that's just probably still having a hard time not kicking herself is Katura.
Yeah, she did say that.
For not going ahead and putting Dee's name down, because it would have changed the whole thing.
Yes, so dramatically. But then that is the perfect representation of this season, in my opinion. Good deal. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in. Well, as most of us fans predicted going into the finale, Dee is indeed the sole survivor and winner of this season. I think the Survivor community as a whole will be pretty happy with Dee winning. I think she's probably my favorite winner in the new era. She had a really well-rounded game, good social game, good physical game, had good relationships, and I think she's very deserving of the $1 million. As far as my thoughts on the season go, my feelings on that are a little bit more mixed. Like you, Joanne, I loved it because of Survivor. And I think the fact that we all endured those silly phrases with the beware advantages a few seasons ago shows our dedication to the show and that we're pretty much willing to endure whatever they have to offer. But I do think this season had some highlights as well. We had a few great players. It was nice to see the Survivor auction back. There's some really good challenges, and I think we all enjoyed the longer episodes and getting a bit more camp time. Unfortunately, we also had some lackluster rewards, some really poor gameplay, and worst of all, quitters. And we know that they cast similar players in back-to-back seasons, but I'm kind of hoping they cast maybe less lawyers next season, maybe have a bit more variety, and also no quitters as well. But at least quitters now aren't going to get their torches snuffed, so I think that's a step in the right direction. In JSFL, I had a pretty good game going into the finale, but that's when everything fell apart. I figured that Austin and Dee would make it to the end, and I had Dee winning, but I didn't anticipate Austin getting as many votes as he did. And going into the finale, I didn't give Jake enough respect to think that he was going to play his idol properly for someone else. So I had Katura going first, so my picks kind of spiraled from there. It's crazy to think that if Katura had just stuck to the plan, that Dee would have gone home and we would have had a completely different finale. And I think high-stakes decisions like that are part of what makes Survivor really good reality TV. It's insane to me this season, in a season where there's quitters, that Austin was an alternate. And I think it just makes his game that much more impressive, and I'm really glad that I stuck with him as my USB. I'm also glad that I'm assuming Parker took Jake as his winner pick for the season because he lost the side challenge, and I'm thankful that I don't have to sing. So I look forward to your singing contribution in the spring. And that's about it for me. I just want to thank you, Joanne and Stacy, for your continued efforts in making this the absolute best Survivor podcast and best fan community out there. And I've really enjoyed listening to everyone else, and I hope you all have an amazing Christmas and holidays. And I'll talk to you all in the new year. You guys just take care.
Thanks, Robert. Great contributions this season. Good job. Dee said that she knew that she got lucky. She knew that luck was a significant factor in her game.
It was.
Well, just imagine she was...
As in any season.
Yes, there's always a significant amount of luck. Yeah. Sometimes you're less aware of it than others. But you just imagine Dee being on Lulu and... Hey, she doesn't even make the merge potentially. Or she's on Bello and they're so dysfunctional she doesn't have any protection around her. She can't build an alliance because they're all going at each other. Tremendous amount of luck, but she made the most of her circumstances. Sometimes you just can't get
a footing.
Yes.
You try and you try and you try and just Jake was so frustrated.
Yeah, combine that with making some pretty serious strategic errors and it can wreck your game completely where you never do get traction. But as we've seen, you can still have a great story in the end as long as you don't quit. Another great representation of this season. Next up, we got an email from Mary.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry this will be our last chatting and connecting over Survivor until next season. As always, it's been a fun time together with lots to look forward to every week. Unbelievably, I had to wait to watch the finale until Friday night. My husband and I watched together, but I was traveling, so we had to wait. Believe me, it was torture not to look at social media to avoid being spoiled and to not be able to listen to the podcast or read any of your posts. I have lots of content to catch up on over the holiday break. While, as usual, I did middling to poor in JSFL, I did get 4 out of the 5 placements correct for the finale. That's great.
Yeah, good job.
Somehow I correctly guessed that Julie would be out at 5, Katura would be out at Fire, and Dee would win. I just thought Jake would be much more convincing at Final Tribal and have much more of a redemption story that the jury would reward with some votes. I'm still puzzled over why on earth Keturah changed her vote from Dee to Julie. It would have been much more interesting and unexpected if Dee had gone out at 5.
Yeah.
I'm also puzzled as to why Jake told Austin about his idol. Some kind of survivor trance must come over players that force them to blab about their idols. I just don't understand it. I really felt bad about how Jeff seemed to amplify all of Jake's missteps. That seemed unnecessarily hurtful when he was already struggling. With all of the emphasis on how Jake has not been able to get ahead in this game, I was really surprised that there was not much of a triumph at the end to balance it all out. I'm happy he did get that moment of fire-making success, but it just left me feeling sad for him. Mm-hmm. I'm glad he at least got some prize money for being in the final 3.
Yeah, well, not only did he get
he got SIA money too, $15,000.
The $85K, so he got another $15K. So he made as much as Austin in the end of things.
SIA gave Keturah $100,000.
She actually came out ahead of Austin too.
Yeah, and Jake and Caleb got 15 from SIA. So, back to Mary. And did I miss it, or did they not show Bruce speaking at the final tribal at all?
Well, he spoke, but
I don't think he asked a question.
He didn't ask a question, which was something that Pete had also asked about. But yeah, he spoke, and then Dee promptly thumped him for it.
Nor did they show him saying anything when he voted for the winner. I feel bad for him, too. It seems like opinions on him ended on so much more of a low than they started with this season.
That's true.
I hope that in reality, he is a valued member of the Survivor family.
I did see things that said that he was active in a lot of watch parties and things like that. He didn't make the last one, but it's right at Christmas and he's a family man. So
overall, I would rank this season near the top, but not one of my top 5.
Wow.
Season 44 is hard to beat in my book. This time we had a worthy, although somewhat predictable winner, and some interesting storylines and challenges. The quitters at the beginning were annoying, but there were also some really interesting characters that I would love to see more of in the future. Well, we will fill our time until season 46 with Australian Survivor Heroes versus Villains.
Oh, my goodness.
Which has been a pretty good season. I'll miss this community and the weekly podcast and will be eagerly awaiting when we all get back together for the Jabbok show.
You know it. Wow.
All right. Thanks, Mary.
You got a good season to pass the time there.
Yeah.
What a thrill you're in for.
Okay, up next we have a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from dark o'clock in Oahu because I'm still on California time and I'm waiting for the sun to come up and drinking my coffee and listening to the ocean with my finale feedback. First, I want to say that I sat down at 8 o'clock here to watch it on my computer, and it was on California time, so I missed a whole bunch of it. The program started right after Dee won the Final Four challenge, and I couldn't go back, and I was like, you know what, I'll just keep watching. But yesterday, I took an amazing bike ride from Kahala all the way around to Haleiwa, 70 miles, and I listened to your podcast, so I got filled in on the blanks, and I actually haven't gone back and watched any of it. I just listened to your podcast. I thought it was a great finale. I had some of the order right. I picked Julie to go out at 5, and I thought Austin would go out at 4, and I thought Keturah would go out at 2. So I had just 2 mixed up. I always thought Dee was going to win, and I thought Jake was going to be a no-vote 3rd. So I had 2 of them mixed up. I just want to say it is heartbreaking when people I love go out at fire. I have felt this way since Rick Devens went out at fire. I felt this way when Jesse went out at fire, when Carson went out at fire. And I was actually super bummed for a good day that Keturah went out at fire. I didn't think she was going to win. I had hoped she would come in 2nd, but I was very sad when she went out, even though I was really happy that Jake got a redemption and finished his game strong. Very sad when people go out at Fire. And I did listen to Jeff's podcast when he said he was going to make a change at Fire, and the change he's going to make is he's going to make it harder. Going to make something really hard even harder and not give you materials to practice with. Yeah, that's the way to go. I love the final tribal. I definitely think Dee won over Austin because she divulged that she kept things from him and she was just more strategic, which we all saw and we all felt, and it awarded her the $1 million. I loved the final. I loved the season. I am sad that it's over. Sad that we won't have our weekly contact and our podcast and our Facebook discussions. And I'm looking forward to February when it comes back. Thank you guys. I thank you for everything you did. Your podcast is wonderful. I literally just listened to your podcast from half of the finale, and it told me everything I needed to know about how it went. And aloha, everybody, and have a wonderful Christmas and New Year's. Bye.
Excellent. I loved hearing the ocean in the background there. Good deal. Thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got a call from Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all my Survivor friends. Another season is over, and definitely not the best season, as Stacy correctly pointed out. It was so obvious about 3/4 of the game season that the winner was going to be Dee. I did enjoy Austin's game, however, but it was so frustrating as he just dissolved into this puppy love for Dee, and he forgot all strategy. And she, like the best of players, she played him. This reminds me that in the year around maybe 2000, we used to attend parenting classes for teenage boys at my son's all-boys school. And we were told that in the final year of high school, it was better that our sons were not in a relationship or weren't working part-time, as boys that age could concentrate only on one thing at a time in their life. So it was more important for them to concentrate on their schoolwork, whereas the girls at that age are more mature to multitask. And well, I'm sure Austin is a lot older, but he's proved that point. Now, Katura, my USB, you could have achieved so much. However, she just fumbled through all the plans and she came up short. The last chance she had got to vote Dee was also squandered by her. She has no one to blame but herself. And the fire challenge, Katura, you were just so hopeless at it. Her edit was just all about Bruce. Julie, well, I just didn't warm up to her. And it was so wonderful that Jake finally got to the final 3 on his own and was not dragged along. He had so much of bad luck. All the ifs and buts all along. If they had worked, we would have said brilliant, but didn't work. But I'm so glad that he did get his redemption in the end. It was so funny that he just couldn't keep the secret of his idol from anyone. He had to tell everybody. For me, the highlight of this season was definitely the return of the auction. I really enjoyed that, and also enjoyed the challenges. And Dee, she was brilliant at them, having won 3 immunity necklaces. A well-deserving player indeed. Dee played a dominant game all through the season. She ran a tight majority alliance. She outwitted everyone, including her newfound love, Austin, and managed her threat levels despite other players swearing that she was going to win for weeks. I am really looking forward to the next season. Just the clips, the cast looks very interesting. So here's wishing everybody a safe, happy, healthy, and prosperous new year ahead, and a very Merry Christmas to everybody from warm and sunny Perth. Cheers.
Cheers, Rashmi. Good job. Probst mentioned in the last episode of this podcast that they had a person of Dee's height on the Dream Team test that challenge. They were testing it, he said, a couple of weeks out to find out how many cups high they could reasonably go given Dee's height, and that she was the shortest person still in the game. So they did take all that into consideration, and sure enough, Dee delivered.
Yeah, But she could just barely get that one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure she could have got another one up there without
according to
knocking
his
something
testing,
over.
that was the spot.
That was the sweet spot.
So they had determined that was the max they could go to,
well,
and
and
delivered.
she won it being the shortest person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think makes it even more incredible.
Yeah.
I just feel so bad for Jake that, the two really big moves that he had planned, and Couture was the one that foiled both of them.
Yeah. Well, you look at bringing back Bruce and the impact that Bruce had on his tribe, and then the knock-on effect that had because of Couture's inability to get any traction in the original Bello tribe, and the friction she had with Bruce, and then how that ended up affecting it's just like that tribe was built to fail. It is what it looks like in hindsight. That just such a hard time.
Well, it seemed like people thought she had the ability to go far, but she just, like you said, she
could not get out of her own way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she caused the biggest fumbles herself.
Wreaked havoc, yes.
Yep. And it's like, oh, she's got to live with that too.
And there was no, because they couldn't get any synergy in that original Bello tribe, because they couldn't get the numbers going. 4 was enough to dismantle them. And, Couture went running to the Reba 4 as soon as the merge happened. She started working that because she just wasn't getting anything from
and that wasn't
old
a bad
or new
thing,
Bellows.
But that was actually a good thing that she was able to
good for her
make inroads. But if she could have gotten her focus off of Bruce, of course I'm sure the edit really played that up and played every single thing she said about him to make it seem that way. But she would probably say, I don't know, I haven't listened to interviews, but that she wasn't that bad. She wasn't talking about it all the time. They just made it seem that way.
I don't know if I heard her comment on that or not.
Yeah, she did do it a lot, so she can't say too much about it.
Yeah. Thanks again, Rashmi. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California. What a way to end this season. It really could have been anyone's game at the end, but congrats to Dee for winning it all. I think a lot of us did see that as the outcome. To gain the last advantage for the reward challenge was different than unscrambling and solving a word puzzle. I'm sorry to see Jake struggle so much the second half of the season, but I'm very impressed in how he was able to think of past Survivor seasons and correspond the winners of each season to the season itself to gain the last advantage. I am a Survivor fan, but I wouldn't have been able to connect them together like that. That was a pretty great advantage too, with only needing to raise one number while the other two were already shown. It was a unique twist that everyone had different number combinations. Yes, that's important. That was a significant change.
We didn't point that out, but we did notice it.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I've always wanted them to do that.
Yeah. Jake was just the most recent casualty of sharing idle information and having it spread to other cast. I kind of saw Julie being the next one gone, but she played a really great game. I don't recall anyone actually breaking a challenge completely like Jake did with the final immunity on the line. No one's done the toddler tantrum like that before. I get he was frustrated, but he took it out in not the best way. His excuse was it was constructed with bungees, so he thought it was okay. I don't think he was owning what he had done even in the end. I love the way Jake kept fighting until the very end, but in some ways it would be too little too late, and he didn't do much near the end to gain the momentum I think he needed to win. As soon as Dee won the last immunity challenge, I knew she was going to take Austin with her to the final 3. Couture also played a really great game and fell short, not being able to get a fire going at all when it really counted. She did say she had practiced quite a bit. I don't know what that was, relatively speaking, but all in all, this season didn't start out great, but it picked up momentum near the end of the season, and it ended up being a really fun finale. Next year's cast seems like really quirky characters, and it was a different way of presenting them using their audition tapes mixed in with island footage, so I wonder what that means, but only time will tell. Hope you all have a great holiday, and I'll talk to you all again come February, where I hope I contribute more feedback than I did this year. Thanks, Jack. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Dustin.
Hello, it's Dustin calling in from Vietnam, and I just finished the finale. I thought it was great, a really solid finale, although not super exciting after the final 5 vote because I thought it was kind of obvious after that happened that Dee was our winner. But the final 5 vote was crazy exciting. My first question for you guys is, has there ever been another final 5 vote where there were 4 people who received votes? Because if there has been, I certainly do not remember. It was very fun to watch, even though I still don't fully understand it. I thought for sure that the 3 Rebas were at least going to coordinate their votes to make sure that somebody got the majority of the votes. But surprise, surprise, they all voted for different people, which I thought was very strange. Anyway, my second question is, what would you guys say the Dee's superpower as the winner was this season? I do think that she was very consistent and dominant, but most of the winners have a kind of a win condition that allows them to win the game. Like, Jam Jam had the thing where he could read the twinkle in the eye, quote unquote, of the other contestants, and he knew if they were lying. And Gabler had the whole alligabler story where he would sink below the water and then come up when it was very important, but then put his head down again, so no one really saw him coming. He was hiding in plain sight. In one sense, what would you say was Dee's superpower? I am very interested to hear what you think and love the show.
Okay, you be thinking about the superpower. I'll answer the other one about the divided votes. So I did some checking, and thankfully there was a post in the Survivor subreddit where they were talking about it. And so, to the best of my knowledge and what was referenced there, the post was a visual representation of the final 5 voting. Just truly appreciate how insane it was. And the person that posted that had a nice graphic where you could see who voted for who and how circular it was. It was time to start the game was the username that posted it. And so, no, that hasn't happened that way. And I think I came across another reference that concurred that hasn't happened like that before. So that was a first. Okay, in one sentence, what would you say Dee's superpower was?
I would say her strength in building relationships with everyone and managing to keep her emotions under control and not share with Austin. And, she had to work at that.
It's a compound sentence, but I think you got it. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You said one sentence. Yeah. It's still a sentence.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I think the thing that stood out to me, most impressed me about her was her ability, her instinctual ability to suss out what was going on. She had really good instincts, some may say intuition, but she was keeping really close tabs on everything and pretty much had an idea of what was going on. And then she took all the appropriate, she made her counter moves based on that. And you combine that with her being insulated with the Reba 4, and then she picked up, every time they got exposed to more people, she picked up more insulation around her.
Now, why did I only get one sentence?
You covered it fine. I said her superpower was her instinct, her intuition.
Mm-hmm. And then you went on.
Then I elaborated on how she leveraged it.
One sentence.
Yeah, I gave it in one sentence.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Liar.
I had other sentences.
You must be an attorney.
That's why people fear the attorneys. They know what skilled liars they are.
I guess so.
Uh-huh.
And
That's always been
everybody
the case.
thought Jake was completely open and honest, and then that was so cute that he, I think he forgot about what he had told him or something, but he said it, and they're like, "What?
You're a prosecutor? You said you were a defender, since that's
a public defender.
That's the good guys, yeah. Okay.
He's like, well, no, not really.
Yeah, nope, I put him away. All right, well, we took a stab at it. I hope that helped, Dustin. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. So it took me a couple of days and a couple of sittings. I'm telling you, the Paramount Plus app is problematic. It's really annoying, but I managed to get through. I haven't watched the reunion show yet, and or the recap, whatever they call it now, and I haven't listened to your recap yet. But I'm not unsatisfied with the results. I think that it was a pretty good final 3. I think it was a pretty good finale. Like, the challenges were good. As for JSFL, I will say I think I got 3 out of 5 correct. So I haven't, like I said, once I listen to the recap, I'll get the side challenge update, but I'm thinking I might have stayed out of the basement this time. So That's kind of nice. I always feel like if I get to the end, I'm just going to get 100% wrong in the finale. But Dee is a great winner, I think. I'm actually really surprised it was as close as it was, which is interesting because Austin was USB 5. So if he had won, I would have gotten those points, but I've also had Final Five ordered totally wrong. Anyway, yeah, I think that she played a great game. I think I honestly, I didn't think that Jake was going to get any votes, but I was just so happy. He just tried so hard, and I think we talked about if someone deserves to win and all that stuff, but I think he really, really earned his place in that final three. So actually, I actually really liked the season. I know that Stacey was kind of disappointed with some of the strategy or lack thereof, but I think that most of the cast was really pretty fun, and there wasn't a lot of obnoxious drama, and great season on the podcast as well. Great interacting with everyone, and talk to you in the new year. Merry Christmas, everyone. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Drew. Good job. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. Well, that was a really good finale to a season that I thought was pretty good. I would still rank this season below season 44 with Jam Jam and Carolyn and Carson, which I love the characters. I love the gameplay. I think that if season 44 had been an hour and a half episodes, it would have shot up even higher in my ranking. But I'm satisfied with putting this season second place of the new era. I want to play a quick round of coulda, woulda, shoulda, and I'm going to do it with a crazy final five vote. If everybody had played their original plan, then Jake would have voted for D and Katurah would have voted for D. That's 2 votes against D. And if Julie voted for Katurah and D voted for Katurah, there's 2 for Katurah, and then Austin voted for Julie. That means there would be a tie, and only the 3 could play again. And I think in that case, D would have still voted for Katurah. I think Austin would have switched to Katurah, and it wouldn't matter what Jake voted on. If he voted for D, it still would have been Katurah. So I don't think D would have gone home. People keep saying if those people had changed their votes, D would have been gone. I still think D would have still made it through that round of votes. As for the casting this season, I think somebody really dropped the ball. The way Lulu imploded, 2 quits, 1 who couldn't even make it up the boat the first episode. And if it hadn't been for Austin coming in as a last-minute replacement, who knows how Reba would have gone. And Bello just was the tribe that couldn't shoot straight. You thought it was all going to be like, if we get rid of Bruce, we're going to be fine. But they never were fine right from the beginning. As for the final tribal council, poor Jake, I'm glad he at least made the fire, but I wish he would have gotten 1 vote. And Dee did a masterful job. I give her credit for that. Austin was playing against a real competitor. I love the smack talk between the two. Whether they'll be a Franny and Matt in the future, we'll find out. Did the girl get the check and the guy? So far, we don't know, but I'd love to see it happen. And how do I feel about the upcoming season? Well, the buff toss, the squeal made me laugh. I'm looking forward to it. You guys take a break. We'll come back and listen to you in February. And once again, our Survivor community will be back. Thanks, guys, for keeping us going. Bye.
Thanks, David. Good job.
I kind of think that's just going to, fizzle out.
What's that?
Dee and Austin.
There is something to that. They said their official story is things are crazy right now. We're just keeping it low key. She's in Miami. He's in Chicago at grad school. So they're not doing anything.
He's in school.
Yeah. But I got a sense like you too. I didn't think much of it at first, and then I listened to him in the interviews, and I thought, you know what? They may be downplaying it because there's really nothing there. She might have done the use and lose.
Well, when was it? When did they wrap up shooting?
July.
Okay.
July. Yeah, I think that one goes March, April. There's a little break, and then May, June. Yeah, I think it was around July, something like that, probably.
Okay, well, there's not been a lot of time, but I don't know. They're young. They're a long way away from each other.
Yeah, for sure.
And, usually you would see them together at some point along the way. And
Dee said they would be posting some pictures on their Instagram feed once all this publicity stuff blows over. So.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong then. But,
maybe.
But the fact that we haven't seen anything was what I was going on.
Right. Yeah.
So.
It's definitely not a Matt and Franny kind of thing, for sure. Not at that level. Thanks, David. Next up, we got an email from Kim in North Carolina.
Dear Survivor fans, like Joanne, I always enjoy the Survivor season, especially after finding this podcast. I enjoyed quite a few of the players, and there wasn't anyone despicable on the cast. Thank you for all the work, Joanne and Stacy, and thanks for the input from my fellow fans. Happy New Year to all, and I'll catch up with you next season. Take care. All right, thanks, Kim. Hope you have a happy holiday. Next up, we have a call from Parker.
What was that? Why did your name go down?
Parker, because he lost the side challenge.
But he's ecstatic to sing a song for us, I'm sure.
Okay.
Well, let's check in.
Okay.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and yes, I did it. I went all in on Jake for the win. I could see the prophecy. He found the idol. He was going to do something amazing with it. Dee was going at 5. Julie was going at 4. She was going to lose fire. And then somehow, some way, Jake is going to amaze the jury, get some sympathy, and Katora and Austin will end up being losing finalists, which I think the only thing I actually predicted correctly was Austin getting second place. That's it. It was not great. I mean, I really was just making those picks with my heart and not with my head. But partly because why not? Like, what do I have to lose? I've been in the basement or near the basement for like most of the season. So I was, you know what? If I have to sing, oh well, I've done terribly this season. I kind of deserve it. Why not just hedge my bets on Jake and see what happens? Did not go well. At the very beginning of the episode, I was feeling good about it. Because a couple days ago, before the finale, Survivor's Instagram posted this promo where it's like, oh, a new winner will be crowned. And it randomly showed JT's win, Denise's win, and then Gabler's win. What a weird selection of players to showcase for this promo. That's very random. And then in the episode, and he remembered the combination because he remembered the players, he associated them with the numbers, and I was, oh my goodness, it's happening. Jake is winning. Why else would they post that? I convinced myself. And then a couple minutes later, when Jake just tells Austin about his idol, well, dang it. There goes that. At Final Tribal, he made it sound like it was always his plan to play it for Katora and not himself. So I'm thinking, okay, was that actually a smart move that he didn't want them to vote for him? And that's why he told everybody, so that everybody would know he had an idol. So that makes him safe. And then it also makes him be able to save somebody else. Because that's kind of smart in a way. I wish we got a confessional of him telling us that or him elaborating on that at Final Tribal. Because that's really just me assuming things. It was really heartbreaking as a Jake fan, as somebody who was really pulling for him. Just so many moments that happened that was just so heartbreaking for him. But I love his attitude about it. And that's one of the things that like really drew me to root for Jake in the first place, is just how optimistic he is with everything that goes wrong in his game. Like he says, I'm sad, but I'm sad on Survivor. Yeah, it's a hard game. It's lonely. You're going to have those moments. But at the end of the day, he's still smiling and he's still trying. And I'm really happy he got his moment making fire. That was really awesome. Dee is a great winner. She really was an amazing winner. She was very dominant, very cutthroat, and I appreciate that. It was a much closer vote than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think Austin was going to get that much. Right now, they're being secretive if they're dating or not. Even though it did kind of seem like she broke his heart a little bit when she revealed that she did tell Julie. It was a good finale. It's a good season overall. I just feel like it had a bit of a lull, but overall, really enjoyable season. And I really appreciated the longer episodes and stuff like that. So can't complain that much. Yes, Jeremiah, please pick something in my range, I guess, so I don't have to think about it too hard. But yeah, that's all I got. I will see you guys next time.
All right. Thanks, Parker. Jeremiah has got you covered. You're going to be...
Hope you're a Swiftie.
He's not going to completely spoil it. Just leave it at that, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. He has got you set up for success.
Actually, I think it's a pretty good song
I think it will.
To do a parody.
But we'll talk about that when we get to Jeremiah.
Okay.
Thanks, Parker. Good job. Appreciate and enjoyed hearing your all in with your heart there.
Well, and I like it that He had so much fun doing that. I know I get these runoff stories in my head that I convince myself of. Usually I'm wrong, but sometimes you get a little something right. But, it's fun. And Parker had fun with it.
Yes.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, there's so much space in between the episodes for you to imagine the possibilities and the potentials. And
or the hundreds of possibilities.
If you do that, you're making the most of it, I think.
Exactly. So, that's what Survivor fans do. Especially
awesome.
If you play in JSFL.
Yes. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, Joanne, Stacey, and all Survivor fans. Hope everyone is well and safe. And that's it. 45 done. Kind of made me think about how to think about this season, and I know that Joanne and Stacey both here picked up on how I'm trying to be a bit positive about the end of the season. And I have found a positive, not just in the ending, but the winner itself. And it made me think about how to think about not just a new Survivor, but just wins in general and what to take out of each season. We often don't think about the specifics of what to take out of each season. And it made me think, well, bad seasons often will have good characters that we latch onto, or vice versa. I mean, last season I thought that the gameplay was okay, but it was actually the characters that came out of it. The final three had some epic plays in there, right, towards the end. Whereas I think in this season we had some pretty substandard characters. The only real shining light was that there were some good players that got kicked out in the middle, and in the winner. I think in terms of a returning player season, there's maybe a couple that will come out of this season, maybe 3. But the winner is a stunning winner. I think Dee played the game really well. She was able to control most of the votes post-merge and keep herself clean and managing that threat level immaculately. This season was hers. What I will say, though, is that I don't believe the whole I came out here knowing I was going to win. Let's face it, you tell yourself that to kind of hype yourself up. But 18 or 17 other people are there with the same mantra, thinking that they're going to win. They didn't come on here just for a joke, except for the 3 that kind of got booted out. Sorry, they didn't get booted out. They were quitters. But the rest, they come out here to win. And that belief is there, yes, from everyone. Let's face it, she got lucky in certain instances. If Katura, and I'm going to put this out there, I think it was not just a fault of Jake and misinformation and not being able to pull off that possible D vote. I think it just stems back from the beginning, not being able to build relationships. This season has shown me that building relationships has been so key. The reason why Jake didn't do as well as what he could have done this season is that, yes, he's a great talker, but he didn't build good relationships, and this is what Dee was able to do. She fostered an amazing Reaper 4. She was able to pull off great moves towards the end of the game whilst winning individual immunity. It's an immaculate game, and I think this season should be remembered for the winner, not for what happened before. I think it left a bit of a mark at the start of the season, but I think we're able to forget that and kind of come across and say, yes, Dee is a brilliant winner. This has been a mid to low tier season, yes, but the winner has been a great one. So, and it reminds me a bit of Fiji in that sense. Fiji was, I thought, a pretty poor season, but the winner, Earl Cole, was an amazing player. So there you go. Hope everyone is well and safe again, and hope everyone has a great break, great Christmas, great New Year, and we'll come back in Feb. Thanks.
Oh, I like that analysis. Right. Good job, Shahin. Yeah, great reference with Fiji. That's always been one of the worst seasons in my rank list. But not only did you get
of the
Earl,
haves, have-nots.
Yeah, that was just the production totally messed that up.
Brutal.
And there was only one person who knew the game that was cast. Everyone else was in that Mactor kind of category. Someone they had sought out because they were a wacky character, whatever. But not only did we get Earl, we also got Yao Man, who made just an indelible impression on the game to me. And I see like tributes to Yao Man when they drop those boxes onto the corners.
On the corners.
Yeah, it's like, there goes the professor optimizing.
He taught him that.
Yeah, that. So, Fiji's always been pretty much the worst season for me, although I guess 39 is probably given a run for its money. I haven't sat down and done rankings in quite a while. But yeah, that's a good reference. When I was thinking about this too, I was reminded of, because I was telling you my reaction to it, and I couldn't quite understand where that was coming from. But I thought, this is like Redemption Island. It's like One World, where you've got that one person that's sort of dominant and had a lot of people enabling them to that position through their ineptitude or just their willingness to bow out of the way or
her ability to sway.
Yes. Yeah. Not to take things away from them. But yeah, so it does have that Redemption Island, One World kind of feel to it to me, which are also in my lower rankings of the overall seasons. That I think that's where I am. So I really appreciated that Fiji reference. That was a good one. Good job. And I totally noticed your positivity. Good job with that too, Sheen.
Yeah.
All season long. He's been working at it. I could tell. Next up, we got a call from Jade-n-Christine.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. This is Jade.
And Christine.
From Hawaii.
Aloha.
So we picked the winner correctly.
Yay!
As most people probably did. Because we were all pretty sure Dee's going to win. I liked her as a winner, though. I thought she had a good story, and I enjoyed watching her play. Yeah,
she was awesome in that final challenge. That was really exciting to see her.
Yeah, she was really good.
Yeah. But by the end, I was kind of cheering for Jake a little bit. Like, I really wanted him to do well in the fire making. So I was so happy that he did that because, I mean, gosh, she's kind of the Eeyore, so sad.
I don't know. I felt like he was kind of bouncing back and forth between Eeyore and Tigger. Yes. Like sometimes he'd be really sad and just feel like he was at the bottom and he could never do well. And then other times he'd be like, I've got an idol. I'm at the top. What did he say? I'm like a lion in goat's clothing or something.
I know. He's bouncing back and forth. Maybe needs some medication after this time. It is surprising that Austin wasn't taken out earlier.
Yeah.
Surprising.
For it all, right?
Yeah.
His name was never written down.
Never written down, which is so shocking.
He seemed like more of a threat, especially physically, but no one went after him.
I guess it means he's got a great social game.
Yeah.
I love how Julie made it to the final 5 as an older woman. Mm-hmm. I think it was great that she was able to do so well in the challenges and get really far.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see.
Yeah, it was exciting. In general, I felt like the season was fine. Like, I enjoyed the 90 minutes, especially at first, but I don't know, as the season went on, I felt like the 90 minutes, that felt long to me, but I think that was more of an issue with editing and what they were choosing to show us versus the length itself. So
what we wanted to see.
Yeah, it just didn't feel as exciting as other seasons sometimes could be.
Yeah, how do you think the jury reactions
were? So nice. They took it easy on the finalists. They didn't seem to be bitter at all. Yeah. Even Drew didn't really seem that bitter.
Gosh, I miss that old school where they just like confronted them and like,
just get up and eviscerate a finalist. I think you're a liar. And just sit down.
No questions, just I need to say something to you.
Yeah. I do kind of miss that confrontational piece of it. But I guess the questions, when they're kinder, they get more answers. But I don't know. It was fine. What do you think of the challenges in the finale?
Oh, that stacking the bowls was great.
Yeah.
That was a really good challenge, I think, because it wasn't about your upper body strength or it's just, you had to just be really focused and just...
Balance and dexterity.
Yeah. Looked really hard, though.
Yeah. Even that final 5 challenge was intense. It was so big and so hard. Yeah. And they were like running around the beach, so they already had expelled their energy to find the advantage, right? Yeah. And then they did this challenge, so...
Yeah. Surprising that Jake didn't faint.
I know. Surprising that he didn't. Yeah. Overall, I think we enjoyed the episode as a whole, and we're Survivor super fans, so for us, the podcast is really what makes it.
Yes. Made it 100% better, and thanks to Joanna and Stacey and to everyone who calls in for feedback.
Yes.
And we just really enjoy all of you. Hope you have a beautiful Christmas and New Year's, or holidays, I should say.
Yes, happy holidays. We'll see you in February.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Good job. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacey, thrills, chills, and spills. What a great finale. Of the final 3, the right person won. Here are my other observations. Jake is a coyote in goat's clothing, and he gets all his plans from Acme. That's good. If you know, you know for that one, huh? The cartoon reference. This week, there must have been a buy one, get one special on combination lock puzzles. Indeed. In the advantage scramble, Jake's lucky that all the numbers were under 45. Okay. The survivors with multiple number 1s were all coached by Brad Culpepper. Yes. Jake, and they just have no awareness with saying that over and over again.
Yeah.
Jake forgot the challenge key. I bet he loses his car keys at home, too. Austin took Jake to the steak dinner. Is Dee a vegetarian? I'm a glass half full guy. Hannah's quit gave us Emily's deep run, and someone else dropping out gave us Austin and a showmance that lasted to final 3. That's definitely a way to look at it. Jake wanted the dog piles to stop. He got his wish at final 5. Indeed. Katura is Cassandra. She predicted Dee's path to the win, but no one listened, including her. Jake kept expecting his bag of tricks to get him treats, but all he got was rocks. Good grief. During the final challenge, I kept waiting for Dee's long toes to snag on the ropes. Yeah, there was nobody even asked her about the big toe energy or any of that in the follow-up interviews. I was listening for that. Jake needs to make fire. I need to finish wrapping presents. Austin twirled the flint like a gunslinger in a movie western, spinning his 6-shooter. The final 4 got official fire-making kits. The producers didn't want another Cook Islands. Yeah, and that's what they're taking away, is those full-on kits for them to practice with, like Rebecca mentioned. And Robert had asked what that was going to be, what that hint was that Probst had dropped an episode or 2 back. Now they're not going to give them all the stuff exactly like they'll use in the Final 4 challenge anymore. Like Rebecca was saying, they want to make it harder. Dee's idea of a hot date, she and Austin watch while Jake and Katura make fire. The final 3 were Dee, Austin, and Jake, or as I saw it, Queen, Consort, and Court Jester. Jake, Julie, and Katura are Exhibit 1 for why some folks think lawyer equals liar. No doubt. Dee's plan was to hide her strength. Is that what winning 3 immunities does? Well, at that point, it doesn't matter anymore. The rules change at that point in the game. Jake wanted to make fire and burn the rope as fast as possible. Mission accomplished. Dee said her biggest decision was a seating arrangement. I hear wedding bells. If Jake had burned down the fire challenge setup, would he have been disqualified? Like if he caught the basket on fire. That would be very Jake-like, wouldn't it?
Hey, as long as it
burned the rope and the flag popped.
That's right.
If Dee and Austin become a couple, I think we know who will win any arguments. Indeed. Fun edit, Jake saying he didn't play safe while he's shown throwing a knife. The jurors' opinions ebbed and flowed. In Peanuts, they'd call that wishy-washy. Jake busted his butt so hard that he broke a challenge. Drew doesn't speak better than 30-year lawyers. He speaks like a 30-year lawyer. Jake, when you take lots of swings that don't connect, you strike out. Austin and Dee are taking it slow to be safe. They live in different states. Sometime thespian Jake should star in a remake of Gaslight. Kendra's astrology predicted the showmance. Sounds like stopped quack syndrome. Dee's plan, be a millionaire or marry one. Austin's lucky that one of those happened. When Reba divorced, neither side got Drew. That's good. Everyone on the jury saw the showmance. They must have watched dailies at Ponderosa. Drew spends all his time reading at the library. No wonder bros mystify him. Austin's reaction to getting in the game was like a kid getting the toy on Christmas morning. The jurors must have missed dinner if they were excited to eat Survivor pizza. Yeah. Anything works when you're starving, though. Alternate Austin grabbed all of the gusto in Survivor, including 2 fish eyes. You heard it here first. Someday, an all-lawyer season is coming to Survivor. Anyway, that's it for me for now, for this season. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Happy holidays, everybody. Stay safe. Thanks, Josh. Good job, buddy. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, everybody. It's Jeremiah here with my feedback for the finale of season 45, and overall I thought it was a pretty darn good finale for sure. The wife and I, of course, had the pleasure of being able to go to Bryce and Wendell's parties this week, which was so much fun. Always a lot of fun when you get a chance to watch it with a big group of people. And not only was the whole cast there minus Julie and Bruce, but we also got to meet some other surprise reality stars. Derby Girls from Buddy Games was there. They were so much fun, by the way. And our winner of Big Brother 25, Jack dad was there. Super nice guy, by the way. And I finally got to meet Mike Gabler, so I'm getting close to meeting all the winners from the new era. Yeah, really, the episode itself, very entertaining. Wow, that final 5 vote was crazy. I think we'll be talking about how in the world that happened. That was nuts. You got the whole stuff with Jake was wild, breaking the challenge, doing another Survivor first. Oh my gosh, there was just a lot of memories I think that we'll look back and pretty much fond on the finale. I think it was a pretty good one overall. And then our winner, Dee, of course. Oh my gosh, what a great dominating player she is. I think she's one of those players that has it all physically and socially. She probably would have done well in any era of Survivor, but the new era of Survivor fit her perfectly. I mean, you have to have a lot of luck in the new era. We've talked about this many times before, between the smaller tribes, the crazy zany twists and turns they always have, losing your vote, all that stuff. Hey, let's be honest. Luck is one of the biggest things coming out ahead when it comes to modern Survivor. That's for sure. But unlike you, Stacey, I actually kind of enjoyed this season overall. I know there's some negative aspects of it, of course. The gameplay was very questionable, but you could kind of make the argument about a lot of the seasons in the new era. And of course, the biggest black eye in the season will be our 2 quitters. Thank goodness that happened pretty early on in the season and we could have moved on. But yeah, I think I would put this towards the top of the new era seasons. It's probably mostly because of the other great characters we had and of course having such a great winner. Another thing that I'm wondering about after this season is, will CBS and Survivor continue in some of the trends that they did this year with their whole private viewings and trying to build tribe and build excitement for the season? For many people probably don't know this, but they actually invited the entire cast for a private screening on Wednesday night. So I don't know, maybe some more changes are on their way for the positive. We shall see. And of course, I have to be thrilled about getting the final 5 pick right and winning the side challenge. Blew my mind. Couldn't believe all that happened. And I made some changes the last minute too, which is crazy. But I am very excited about that. And of course, I have to pick a song. And I felt like because this has been the year of Taylor Swift, I figured we'll go with Taylor Swift's song, Cruel Summer. So there you go. That should be interesting to see how that turns out. And that's it for me. Hopefully everyone has a happy holidays and a new year. Joanne and Stacey, I can't thank you enough for the amazing work you do on this podcast. And of course, our wonderful listeners that we get to hear every week as well. And that's it for me. And until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Great job. Yeah, that we weren't familiar with it. We are not Swifties, so we had to go listen.
Not a Swiftie.
And I think that could work really well.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, it's got kind of a rap kind of in it, spoken word thing that I think will work in a recap of the events of this season. So yep. I'm looking forward to that. Excellent choice. I like the thought you put into that. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California, and here are my thoughts on the Survivor 45 finale. I loved the challenge on the beach where they had to count all the things in order to get an advantage. I loved Jake's slow and steady wins the race strategy, and as well as his strategy for remembering the numbers. I mean, this guy knows his Survivor history. And when I saw Austin and Dee helping each other, I thought, just give me a break already. And when Austin took Jake to the sanctuary for the reward, I was hoping so much that Jake would not tell Austin about his immunity idol. There's really no reason to tell anybody about it at this point. His best play was to try to draw all the votes to himself and then play the idol and choose who to go home. And despite that blunder, he and Katurah still had a chance to take Dee out and make that huge move. But then Katurah blew it. Oh, it was so frustrating. They had nothing to lose and everything to gain. That was just too little too late. I think Jake truly sunk his ship when he told Austin about his idol. And I can't believe that Austin did not see through Dee. Dee was no one's ally out there but her own. She flat out would not vote for Austin or she would not vote for Julie. It didn't matter whether that was the best strategy for going forward for anybody. She wasn't going to do it. That was her true weakness, and they should have exploited that, knowing that she was never going to go along with either of those votes. And that's really how Jake and Katurah could have gotten her out. The votes were so fractured at that tribal council. All that was needed was 2 votes to get rid of someone, and Katurah wasn't brave enough to swing for the fences on that one. I mean, I think I'm just dwelling on this because I love a true underdog story, and this season was ripe for an underdog to succeed. So when Dee got the hero slow-mo edit during the final immunity challenge, I pretty much knew it was a done deal. And for Dee winning this game, I really think what it came down to was withholding information. The person who withheld the key information and did not let the cat out of the bag is the one who won the game. Because I think that information is what turned the tide in the final tribal council. I think overall, Dee came across as scattered and fickle to me, playing with emotion and not being willing to make the difficult votes. I think Austin's responses to Drew and Kelly's questions were excellent and were a reason for him to win the game. Talking about how he and Drew really drove the Reba 4's strategy, and saying how he didn't have to play his idol. Flashy idol plays are great, but it's cool to not even have to play your idol, never to have your name written down. And I also want to say that the whole I'm a secret lawyer thing was a little bit tiresome. No offense to any lawyers out there, I know you have a tough job. I just don't know what this mystique surrounding being a lawyer is. Like, nobody can be as smart as a lawyer out there. How about a doctor? Nobody says we have to vote this guy out because he's a doctor. I think Austin played the better game, but it doesn't matter. For me, this will go down in the books as the one where the best player didn't win. And I think you can tell by my feedback, this has not been my favorite season. But Survivor remains my favorite show above all others. So though I'm critical of the gameplay and the production, I am so happy with Survivor in general. I love it. And I can't wait for Survivor 46 to start in February. I want to thank Joanna and Stacy for providing us with this awesome podcast experience. And I want to give everyone my best wishes for happy holidays, happy new year. Can't wait to hear the feedback show and to start it all over again in February. Till next year. Bye.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, Katura said that she had underestimated Austin when she saw his final tribal council performance. She didn't realize how much he was going to bring it. Yeah, so it definitely did have an impact. Mm-hmm. And both Dee and Austin said that her dropping the bomb actually happened earlier on than was really represented. And Austin said that rung his bell and was a wake-up call, and so he really started turning it on. So it lit a fire under him when she, it owned the lie and the impact of it. Mm-hmm. So it rocked him, but then he really turned it on, and I think that's part of why he ended up getting the votes there. So
well, and you know that at that point, then he thought, well, was she just playing me the whole time?
Yeah.
I need to get in here, and I want to win this.
He said, it wasn't that he was holding back, but it just gave him that much more incentive to go for it and really start pulling more and more
and
out to share. And
maybe want to beat her for not, that he shared and she didn't.
Yeah.
But definitely the women on the jury especially did see that as a weakness on his part and a strength on hers. And I, too, believe that is the main reason that she got the win.
Yeah. Did seem to be a significant portion of it. Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here, and I have to say it was a very enjoyable season for me, especially since I was fine with the winner. In this new era of Survivor, I've had my fair share of issues with the winners, so this was refreshing for me. And maybe issues isn't the right word. Let's just say that I've had disappointments with some of our previous winners, and we'll leave it at that. Right off the bat, though, I have to say that Jake impressed me with his shortcut for remembering numbers. I have never been able to recall details, and when people go on here about season 37 or the winner of 23, well, I'm literally lost. In fact, sometimes even with the names of previous players, I'll eventually place them, but I always need more clues. I guess that's just what happens when you're in your 60s, or at least to me. So yeah, I'm very impressed with Jake's Survivor knowledge. How he played his endgame, however, well, that's another story. You can say that Katura ruined Jake's game, and that she was predictable for acting the way she did towards him, and you'd be 100% correct. But it was Jake who sabotaged his own game when he told Austin about him having an idol. That just snowballed into one huge mess that could have easily been avoided. Loose lips sink ships, and Jake just couldn't stop his from flapping. And Katura herself, well, I just viewed her as a middling to low-end player as well. I never saw her playing strategically so much as revengefully. Is that a word? How about spitefully? That's probably better. She'd just pick a target and focus without much thought. It took me a while to see it, but that's how I ended up seeing her. And Dee, well, She is ruthless. When she told Austin during Final Tribal that she did in fact tell Julie to play that idol, well, you could see the wind fall out of Austin's sails. And I think he saw his chances for a win drop dramatically right there and then. I'm happy that the vote was so close, though. I'm one of those fans that dislike the unanimous or close to unanimous wins that we see so often anymore. But then there's Jake, who got nothing, and the whole GOAT thing sounds great when it's headed into the end game, but when you see it actually at play, well, I started feeling sorry for him. I always feel sorry for the GOAT in the end. But Jake has his fire win that I hope makes him feel a little better about the end result. But then there's that last challenge, which made him look pretty darn bad. He didn't break the challenge. He actively vandalized it in a fit of rage. It was exceptionally unbecoming, and I can't believe Jeff didn't give him more flack about it in the finale. And Austin, he was so close that I'm sure he'll make it back in a returning player season. I think that Dee made the right choice in not allowing him to make fire. Austin certainly seems like a nice guy, but in Jake's defense, Dee and Austin never had to deal with the ups and downs that Jake had to. When a player has essentially no lows, you only get to see one side of their personality. Rick Devens, and I looked his name up before I started recording this, was wonderful in his game until things turned, and then we saw a different side of him, which I just couldn't forget. Dee and Austin had it made from day one, and I was happy, thrilled even, to hear Dee acknowledge that fact. So I'm happy with both the season and the winner. I had a great time, and I'm anxiously awaiting February for it to start all over again. Everyone have a great holiday season. Also, enjoy your downtime, Joanne and Stacy. You are much appreciated. Be safe, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Paul. Yes, we do plan to enjoy the short downtime window that we're headed into. It's good. We're going to be back at it pretty quick. So
yeah, and I'll be traveling, so you'll be home alone for quite a while.
Yeah. One of the things that came out in the interviews was that Austin, Dee, Drew, and Julie would get up every night in the middle of the night. They said after Sifu started snoring and they were sure that the others were asleep, they would get up and go strategize for a couple of hours together. So they were putting in a lot of time and, staying in touch with each other, but not during the day as much. That enabled them to keep that Type 4
very
much
smart.
more under wraps.
Yeah, because a lot of people just didn't seem to know it.
Right, until too late. I think Austin said Bruce did catch them once when they were doing that after the merge, because they continued to do that, to strategize in the middle of the night and talk through all their options and do their planning there. So that was interesting to learn.
Anything else you learned during the interviews?
No, I think I concur with Jen, and there's my look at where I think this season fits, but in terms of the experience that we had, I had a fantastic experience this season. We had a great time pulling the shows together, the podcast together, and doing our recaps, and then all the talk that you and I would have in between each episode, and then doing the listener feedback shows too. So all of that's been a huge blast. I had a great time with season 45 from that regard.
I did as well. That's our thing, I guess, is that we tend to talk a lot about it even during the week.
Well, that's why doing a podcast to begin with 19 years ago seemed like a natural thing to do, because as we were watching, we would find that we were talking about it. We were talking about it during the commercials while the episode aired, and then we would talk about it during the week. And it was the show, just the premise of it and how everything played out fascinated us so much. When I was looking for something for us to do together, and I had just started to get hooked on listening to podcasts because of all the wealth of information and the different views that were out there, and how accessible everything was. Even back in 2004, when I started getting interested in that, it seemed natural for us to do a reaction type show to that, since we already had so much energy.
I can't believe we're starting into 20.
Coming up on year 20, yeah.
Jeez, that we've podcasted.
Yeah.
I remember when you came in and said, honey, we need to do a podcast. And I'm like, a what?
Right.
What's a podcast? You're like, come in here. I want you to listen to this podcast. And even now, though, sometimes when I have a lot going on, which I have this week, but you'll come in and say, well, did you make your picks and have you thought about it? And I said, I didn't even remember Survivor was still on. My brain has been so occupied.
Well, yeah, you had something else happening that you're dealing with. So.
I know. Yeah, okay.
Hey, we want to say a big thank you to everyone who took time to get feedback in for the finale and during the season, too, to help make this so much fun together, especially pulling things together on the holiday weekend. A big thanks to Hope for your donation. We greatly appreciate your support, and that helps us with our operating costs, and that's huge. Thank you so much for that.
And again, congratulations to Chuckwagon NH and Dina for winning JSFL for season 45. And again, congratulations to Jeremiah for winning the side challenge. And he has chosen the song Cruel Summer, as we said, by Taylor Swift for Parker. Parker, that will be due by the Jabbok Show Part 2 deadline.
That's coming up soon, bud.
Yeah. And as always, I always recommend that you do it sooner rather than later because it's fresh in your mind.
You're going to have a good time with this one.
I think he will. I think he's going to enjoy it.
With this season, the event, there's lots of material to draw on.
Yes, and we look forward to it so much.
We also want to give a big thanks to Paul for the visual roster and the website logo, and to Steve for creating and maintaining the JSFL website, which gives us all kinds of extra fun, and also to Jeremiah for shepherding the SFP fans over on the Facebook page.
Anything else? Are we putting this season to bed?
This is it, the end.
All right. We hope that you all have a very happy holidays, and we'll be back in February for season 46.
Have a good one.